A very good morning, students. Welcome back to the class Sustainable Management of Natural Resources. In the last class of this chapter, we have discussed about the coliform bacteria which is present in the human intestine and their problems arise. And even we have discussed about the 5 R's, that is refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose and recycle. Today we shall further move on to the other topics. Students, why do we need to manage our resources? Not just roads and buildings, but all the things we use or consume food, clothes, books, toys, furniture, tools, and vehicles are obtained from resources on this earth. The only thing we get from outside is energy which we receive from the sun. Even this energy is processed by living organisms and various physical and chemical processes on the earth before we make use of it. So whatever may be the things or the energy which we are getting through the food is also a chemical reaction processed food, isn't it? So number of energy which we are getting from our environment is nothing but our various physical reactions and chemical reactions. Through those reactions only what happens, we are getting a proper amount of energy on this earth. Students, why do we need to use our resources carefully? We all know that is because these are not unlimited, and with the human population increasing at a tremendous rate due to improvement in healthcare, the demand for all resources is increasing at an exponential rate. So hereby what happens, we all know that is what happens since the population has been increasing day by day, they all know that is the values of a health. Since to improve our health, what happened hereby, we have to see our resources, that is natural resources, at a better rate, so that what happened, our health also what happened will be a good position. The management of natural resources is increasing at an exponential rate. The management of natural resources requires a long term perspective so that these will last for generations to come and will not merely be exploited to yield for short term gains. This management should also ensure equitable distribution of resources so that all and not just a handful of rich and powerful people benefit from the development of these resources. So, hereby, since the population exploitation which is taking place, there may be in the future generation or for the further generation, there may be lack of these natural resources. Hence, what we must do for a long term storage, what happens, we must save these natural resources which are available for us for the next future generation, and thereby we can see that is nowadays or even in the future only a handful of people are getting, but this situation should not be continued for the next generation. So all the people or all the kind of a generation whoever comes on the earth must get the proper amount of natural resources which are easily available in a nature. Another factor to be considered while we exploit these natural resources is the damage we cause to the environment while these resources are either extracted or used. For example, mining causes pollution because the large amount of slag which is discarded for every ton of metal extracted. Hence, sustainable natural resources management demands that we plan for the safe disposal of these wastes too. By the time when the mining process has been taken place, you just imagine, thereby we can see that is noise pollution because of blasting, and even they be, by the time whenever they are bombarding or even the blasting, what happens, stones, there may be a smallest finest particles which comes out through those blastings, and thereby what happens, it reaches the air. By the time whenever it reaches the air, these minute particles what happen along with the air which will be inhaled by the human being. By that time what happens, these number of minute particles will store at the lungs, thereby it causes number of lung disorders or even breathing disorders. Apart from these disorders, what happen, these number of dust particles from the stones what happen or from the mining, they will sit on the water content. By the time whenever it sits on the water content, thereby even the water also gets polluted, and even the small pieces of stones what happen will move here and there because of these explosives usage in a mining process. And even these dust particles will sit on the cloths whenever it is in the outside. So number of problems what happen because of these mining will be taking place. And the slags whatever, or slag is nothing but the waste products which are released or which are produced through the process of mining, that is while extracting the metal, the unwanted materials which are produced are called as which one, that is slag. And even these slag what happen whenever it is disposed in a bad manner, thereby what happen, even it causes a soil pollution too. Thus so mining what happen will causes number of health problems and even number of problems for a environment. So that is why they are telling, by the time or by the process of mining we must be careful, that is all the resources whatever which we are extracting should not be harmed, and even the environment should be safe in such a way that it should be reused again. The present day global concern for sustainable development and conservation of natural resources are of recent origin as compared to the long tradition and culture of the nature conservation in our country. The principles of conservation and sustainable management were well established in the prehistoric India. Our ancient literature is full of such examples where values and sensitivity of humans towards nature was glorified and the principle of sustainability was established at its best. They are telling in the earlier days, whatever may be the concern for a conservation of a country, the people of in India or even in Earth, in the earlier days, what happened, we can see that is they had a values for any of the resources which they are going to use. But nowadays, since the population exploitation has been taken place, we are utilizing in a bad manner. So that what happens, all the products which we are using, we are overusing and we are not using it is in a proper way. So that what happens, it is creating a number of problems for our environment on the other organisms which are living. So we must have the values for all the natural resources which we are using nowadays, so that what happens, by that time in the future more number of people or the future generation can be utilized, and even thereby what happen, our nature will be very much helpful for the conservation of their things in the environment, and thereby it can be re-established in the nature. During Vedic period, both productive as well as protective aspects of forest vegetation was emphasized because they had a great love towards the environment. Hence, thereby what happened, they protected the forest areas, and even what happens, they were protective for the number of purpose in the forest areas. Agriculture emerged as a dominant economic activity during the later Vedic period. This was the time when the concept of cultural landscape, such as sacred forest and groves, sacred corridors, and a variety of ethnoforestry practices were involved that continued to post-Vedic period. Besides, a wide range of ethnoforestry practices were infused with the traditions, customs, and rituals and followed as a means for the protection of nature and even natural resources. So, whatever the process they might be carried in an earlier Vedic period and even post Vedic period, they had number of customs to be followed to save the nature and even natural resources. Thank you.